I wanna take you for a ride.
90s. Whee! Hello and welcome to the next episode in the Music Mates series. Today the year is 1993. Actually, funnily enough, one of the albums isn't even from 1993. And I didn't even realise until Johnny pointed that out to me. Like, what was it? A week ago, two at most, maybe. And then I had a look, and one of the songs on the album was actually released as a single the year before, so that way it technically qualifies as a 1993
It completely doesn't,
album.
but it was too late.
Just review that song.
Too late.
So,
Wait, which one is it?
It is Lip Gloss, I think, or Babies. I'll check. I've got it written down somewhere, but it's one or the other. So personally, I'd say this is probably one of the weaker years, but I still really like every album.
So
And that's what happens when I pick
so
them,
weak, you had to cheat.
Yeah. Well, my honourable mention, I guess, if I had one, would have been the PJ Harvey album that I made you, Johnny, listen to, and you said you liked it, didn't you? Quite a bit. Yeah. So maybe we should have gone with that one instead of Bob. But I'm still glad, because His and Hers I'm a really big fan of. No, it is Lip Gloss. Lip Gloss was released in 1993 as a single, so that is the loophole. So we'll start off with His and Hers. The album was released on April the 18th, 1994 by Sheffield-born Britpop band Pulp, and the album is their 4th out of 7 in total, cited often as the breakthrough album for the band. It's His and Hers. So I'll give you a little bit of history on the band. They were formed in 1978 when lead singer Jarvis Cocker was only 15, where the band was initially called Arabius Pulp. A year later, the name was shortened to just Pulp, and the band by then had a few gigs and a brief appearance on the Peel Sessions, which famously progressed the career of Joy Division the same year, although not with such success for Pulp. Discouraged by the lack of success, all the other members left the band to go to university. The following year, Cocker formed a lineup which included keyboardist Simon Hinkler, who would later go on to play with The Mission, and the group was signed on by Red Rhino Records to release their debut album, It, in 1984. However, the album didn't break into the mainstream and the band disintegrated once more, held together again by the devoted Jarvis Cocker. And once again, he assembled a new lineup and in 1985 released a series of singles that made the band's future more optimistic. However, he became severely injured around this time, and Jonathan will probably be able to tell you why at some point. The band split again after their second effort, Freaks, with yet another lineup by 1989 to record their third album, Separation. In 1992, the band began to get serious attention in the UK with the release of a single called Babies, before the album His and Hers, which it features on. The album received generally popular reviews and acclaim and launched the band higher unexpectedly, and the lineup at this point consisted of Jarvis Cocker on lead vocals and guitar, Russell Sr. on second guitar, Candida Doyle on keyboard, Nick Banks on drums and Steve McKay on bass, with this lineup being the general long-term members of the band. Although the group earned a superstar status in 1995 with the release of Common People and Disco 2000, specifically in what's widely considered their best album, Different Class, received rave reviews across the UK. Their penultimate album, however, This Is Hardcore, gave speculation that the band may stop completely, and after their final album, We Love Life, inspired by the September 11 terrorist attacks, the band split up. Although in the years 2011 to 13, the band reunited with no intention of releasing new material and have since departed from one another, with no news to this day. The band have to this day consisted of 25 different members over the span of 35 years, and they've certainly been a key member of the infamous 90s Britpop movement. The album we're reviewing is His and Hers, as I've previously mentioned. The track listing includes Joyriders, Lip Gloss, Acrylic Afternoons, Have You Seen Her Lately, Babies, She's a Lady, Happy Endings, Do You Remember the First Time, Pink Glove, Someone Like the Moon, and the final song, Dayless Last Summer. So, let's get started with the first one. So the opening track, Joyriders, is one that I'm quite a big fan of. I think the intro dives you straight in, the vocals kick off, and the pre-chorus is a really cool distorted feedback sound. So anyone have anything to say about Joyriders?
Well, you mentioned Common People that they released later, which is sort of an attack on like the middle and upper classes. This one is sort of more about working class people. It's sort of about these youths that I can't quite remember, but they're like taking a girl down somewhere and they're driving irresponsibly is basically what I remember from it.
Yeah,
and it has the implication that they're going to crash and all die or something like that. But yeah, no, quite good lyrics.
Yeah, it is. The first three songs are all. I mean, even the first four, I guess, and Babies as well, are all really, really, really good. It's a very solid first half, I think, and it starts to go down a little bit towards the second half, which is a bit unfortunate. So the second song, Lip Gloss, is one of my personal favourites, and the lyrics are about a woman losing control of her boyfriend because she has lost her lip gloss, which I expect is a metaphor for losing sex appeal and can no longer seduce him.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favourite things about Pulp is I think they use synth in a really, really effective way, because in the 80s, obviously, synth kind of took off a little bit and all these computer-generated effects, and they ended up sounding, I guess, kind of cheesy and a bit cheap, and they got kind of tiring after a while, even though it spanned for an entire decade. I'm not really sure why that happened. And one of the reasons I like Pulp is because I think they use that synth sound in a really kind of new and unique way, which I am certainly a fan of. It's not cheesy or overly poppy at all, and it works really well. It's got a great music video as well. It's actually funny. I've watched some music videos by this band, and I get the impression that Wes Anderson must have watched these, and that's how he developed his style, because they've got a similar kind of tone, haven't they? Wouldn't you say? I know you've seen a few.
Yeah, I've seen a few. Haven't seen this one though. But yeah, no, they have got an interesting style. I definitely remember one where it's got an interesting resolution. That's definitely a very Anderson
Which
thing.
one is that? Do you remember the song name?
Disco
is it from this? Oh, it's
has got, I think it's like a square screen.
Yeah, it has. It's kind of like those really old TVs where the edges are kind of rounded off. So yeah, and then all of the music video is censored within that frame, that box. So, anyone have anything else to say about Joyride? Lip Gloss?
Oh yeah, we're actually on this podcast.
Well,
how far in before we said anything?
I'm not even here. Well, for me, I didn't speak up with Joyriders because I felt like it's, I don't know, a pretty not great start to the album, or at least when as a first impression, didn't really sell the sort of, I'm going to say, unique vocal sort of style of the singer. It might just be common for that Britpop genre that you call, but it's the first time I've really had to sit down and listen to it. And so with Joyriders, I was kind of put off a bit with it. Like, I was like, am I going to like this? And Lip Gloss was a lot stronger. I think the lyrics were better as well, and they sort of drew me into the song a lot more. And yeah,
that's great.
It's better.
Yeah,
that's another of the distinctive things about Pulp, I think, is the way Jarvis Cocker sings. He's got a very good kind of...
You say sings.
He's a very good speaker.
And in certain songs, I think less so in this album, but in later ones, he's got a really creepy whisper that he can do.
That's in some
He
of them.
does.
Yeah, he does. He does sound quite chilling at times in specific
I don't know if
songs.
this is just me, and it probably is, but like, it kind of sounds, it's quite timeless, because there's nothing about this music that like says it's from the 90s to me.
Yeah.
There's a bit of like Arctic Monkeys in it, I feel like you said, there's the 80s synth, it definitely could be from any time.
Yeah.
And that, while I thought that was kind of a criticism the first time I heard it, like upon kind of re-listening to it, I actually quite like that it's different from all these like just classic 90s rock albums like Nirvana or...
Well, yeah, you say that, and all that grunge era movement was a lot more popular over in the States, and in the 90s we definitely had more things like Oasis and Blur and this band and Radiohead, and they're the ones that kind of pushed. Yeah, but you talk about the band and the album being timeless, and you make a very good point. The fact that the band started off in 1978 and they weren't, successful, and it took them about 2 decades to get success. It means they were so ahead of their time. It was unbelievable.
I'd just like to say, Lip Gloss is pretty good. It's one of the 3 songs, actually 3, 4, maybe probably there's 4 songs that I really like in this album, and Lip Gloss is one of them.
Cool. So, we're getting on to the third song. A Critic Afternoon is my favourite. I like it for quite a few reasons. The first reason is I love the way that it starts, because it...
asleep on your sofa and had a dream about a small child.
Listen to that start. That was an excellent start. Why did you like that start?
Well, I like the start because it has this kind of it's this really eerie high-pitched ringing that ascends and descends in volume. I'm not sure if you guys remember. And while the ringing is occurring, that you kind of hear this this playful sound of children in the background. It's a really, really strange intro, but it's quite a good grip for me.
Yeah, I think it didn't quite hit it for me, but...
Oh, no?
No, I don't think so.
Mm.
I can't really explain why it did.
Yeah.
But I think the same reason why it worked for you is why it didn't for me.
Yeah.
I think the backing's pretty good. It's like sort of rises over time. I've looking at my notes and they're a bit scattered. The only thing that stuck out to me in terms of the lyrics is they reminded me of the Lonely Island. I'm a mother lover, you're a mother lover. We should fuck each other's mothers. Line. So yeah, that's my review of Lonely Island. They're great.
Yeah. For me, like I don't like. This is pretty complete opposite of Johnny, but like I don't care too much for the lyrics. I think the strength of the band isn't in the kind of. I like it. I like the sound of his voice. The actual content of the lyrics just doesn't appeal to me in any way. Actually, the more I've listened to it, the more I dislike it. But Acrylic Afternoons is my second favourite because much like the first favourite, I just feel like the chorus is so strong. And like it just sounds so good. I don't know why. I can't analyse it.
Yeah,
it's just good.
No, I agree with you.
It's stuck in my head.
What makes the chorus so good is that I'll come back to one of the points I was going to make. When you asked me to think of a song where the singer actually sounds like he's singing what he is singing about, this is certainly one of them, because the way he sings, especially in the verses, he has this kind of like a restless, he's almost panting at times, like he's struggling to breathe, and
he's
I
a very
really
good
find that
performing
I do
vocalist.
Busting nut ?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So that sounds like him being shot by a horse tranquilizer. He goes.
there is a screech in there somewhere.
I feel like resistant materials would be way better if like every time the teacher said acrylic, they said it in the way he says acrylic.
Going back to you saying about Pulp's lyrics, I think one of the strengths is bits like this, and especially the way that Jarvis Cocker does it, is just the sort of add-on bits at the end. So it's like, but that's why I came here in the first place. Oh well, that and the tea. He just adds that on brilliantly. It's sort of like,
yeah, it's a bit Park Life-y though, isn't it?
Don't you dare compare it.
You're thinking about leaving the air. It's a bit kind of just like
shit like Park Life.
No,
there's another good example, not from this album, but in Razzmatazz. It begins. The problem with your brother is he's always sleeping with your mother. It just has the perfect pause there before he then goes into it, and then it goes on, and there's like weird stuff. But yeah, those are the sort of strong moments from Pulp in terms of lyrics, which I think there's less in this album. There's more in Different Class, which is why I think Different Class is better.
More successful,
So don't give up on Pulp's lyrics yet.
Yeah, the thing with their lyrics is normally I think I'm more of a Harry when it comes to the lyrics don't matter, and I care more about the actual sound of how they're sung, right? But in this one, they just don't sound like song lyrics. They are literally like talking like throughout this album.
Certain songs, especially.
Yeah,
I feel like,
and that like catches my attention more. And I don't know, it's interesting. I'll give it that. It's interesting.
It certainly is. It's definitely. Like I talked about how unique this band is. He certainly has this kind of original take on singing. It is speaking, isn't it?
It's like if you go to like a musical, what do they call it? Yeah, like a musical, they'll have like an insert where someone gives a monologue in like the middle of a song. It's like that, but there is no song.
That's a good example. Before we move on to the next one, I also wanted to talk about, you mentioned lyrics, Serge, Tony, and this has got one of my favourite lines from the album, just because it reminds me of Glow, and it's while we wait for mothers to finish with
yeah, that's what reminded me of
exactly.
the Lonely Island.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So the fourth song, Have You Seen Her Lately, is the first one where I still like it, but I don't think it's as good as the first three. I'm not sure how you guys thought, but at the same time, I do like the fact that it's a lot more slow. It's more relaxed. It's kind of dreamlike. It feels weightless in a sense.
Smooth.
Yeah, it's very, very, very smooth. And again, the synth kind of works to elevate that.
So smooth that I even remember it.
This is another one where I like the lyrics. Those are the opening ones. First, you let him into your bed. Now he's moved inside your head, and he directs all the dreams you were dreaming. It's just already in that first 3 lines, he's set up. You know exactly what's going on there.
He's very good at setting the scene.
Engaging for this one. Yeah. I don't know what Joyriders was about, even though I listened to it, but this one was more engaging. And I think this is one of the ones where his like sort of vocal style contrasts more with the rest of the song. That makes it pretty neat.
Yeah. So without further ado, we'll move on to Babies, which actually has my favourite lyrics on from the entire album. It's known as the Pulp song from His and Hers because that's just what it is. It's the famous one from that album. The lyrics are so good, and he drives this. God, fucking hell! It literally is a narrative. I mean, there is an entire kind of 3-act structure to this song. You could adapt it into a film. It's that good.
Yeah. Or shall we listen to the intro?
Yeah. So Babies was, I believe, your favourite song, Johnny?
Yes, it was. I think it was probably one of the first Pulp songs I heard, and I don't know. I just really I like the story that it tells throughout, and then when it just comes to the punchline, and the music video for this is the first one
I've seen the music video for this as well.
Yeah.
And I wanted to point out that I want to say the keyboard person, Candida Doyle.
Yeah,
I remember that name just to say that she really didn't look like she wanted to be there.
Right.
She was having a terrible time.
No.
She was like,
this video.
I'm gonna be fucking kicked out of this band or leave. It doesn't even matter what I do.
One of the 25 members.
I mean, I guess the evidence is they have 25
it's like the fucking ship of Theseus, right? Like, so much of it has been replaced. Is it steel pulp? So it's just got that one consistent piece.
Pulp is just what Jarvis Cocker is doing at the moment. Yeah,
fair enough. He is the key to it all. So Babies.
Yeah. So the music video is it. You think it's just going to be one of those typical ones where they're just in like some room. In this case, it's like all just white, and it's just the band with all their instruments kind of dancing around. But it has the sort of, I guess title cards you'd call them that come up. So at the beginning, it's lights, camera, or whatever, and then it starts, and it manages to do like little funny bits where it's got jump cuts, and then they're all in different clothes,
yes,
and then they suddenly change what clothes they're wearing. Then continuity comes up.
We'll come back to that later, but that's also something that happens in a music video of one of the songs from the other album that we're doing. But no, it really is a great song, and the opening, basically before the actual music video starts, there's a black frame, and on the black frame it says a promo video is simply an advertisement for a song, which is a really, really great line.
So the story of the song, we should probably say what that is.
My impressions from listening for it were just some sort of weird, like, it reminded me of Erimonger Sensei, which is a bad thing. It's a bad thing. And I'm just like trying to decipher it. I'm just like, I think it's about a person who was like cucked by their sister. That's all I've got.
No.
That's my interpretation.
I do not want you roping in a band that I really like in with your stuff.
So what
I mean, I like the song, but I'm like, this is really weird. I don't get it.
Yeah. It is a weird song, but it's not incestuous in any way, shape, or form.
Isn't it? I got with her because she looked like you or something.
Yeah, that's two different sisters. That's a younger and older sister.
What? And are they his sisters?
No. So
that changes the song.
Yes, the singer is going out. So the singer is going out with someone who's got an older sister, and the older sister has boys in her room. So the older sister is like old enough to have sex
from the
and
garage
stuff.
down the road.
She's drawn that moustache on him.
And the younger sister is like too young for that or whatever, and the person singing wants to get and have sex with her, basically. But his curiosity means that he basically goes into spies on the older sister to see what goes on, and then one time it goes wrong and he like walks out when she's just in the room alone, and then he says I had to get it on or whatever. So then he goes and sleeps with the older sister, and then the younger sister
went
comes
with her
in
because she looked like you.
Okay. Damn. It's not Ermog Sensei season
No,
2.
It's not.
I feel like
Sorry.
the name David doesn't make for good music, apparently, because my two least favourite songs are Babies and David's Last Summer. There's something like, I don't know.
Does it rhyme with anything?
Yeah, just saying the name David in a song sounds so weird.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess it's like part of the like pulp thing is the thing, not quite.
But
intentionally like discordant.
That's kind of like not what I like. Like
fair
the
enough.
fact that I don't like the lyrics in this song is essentially not a song; it's just someone speaking, like a poem that I didn't really like. I can't like. There's nothing that compels me to Babies.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Well, we can move on to Tony's favourite song. She's a lady. Whoa.
All right, we've just heard it, but should we hear the actual version? That was good, right?
Yeah, I really like this one.
This one is pretty good. I know this album is sort of, or this band is even known for its unique sort of style. But this one I picked just because it reminds me of other things. Like at the start, I was like, I like the sort of almost club style beat that is at the beginning, and then there's sort of vocals at the beginning to lay it in, almost spoken but whispered. And it reminded me of that one Rage Against the Machine song. So on my notes I was going to write down white liberal doctrine, but I got to white lib, and just that's where it ended because the song started. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. It's got some I want to say like a Depeche Mode kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, it's good.
It does have a great synth hook, and I like the fact that there's this sort of indistinct mumbling happening over it. As soon as maybe it's not as soon as, but some guitars come in at some point, and it makes the song have a completely different sound. It sounds a lot darker and more depressing. It's a really, really good contrast there.
And what surprises me is the opening is just kind of I don't know, it's when you actually read all of it, it's just like, where has the love gone is basically what it is, but it's not cringy and cheesy. It's well done.
Yeah, I think I actually like the lyrics of this one quite a lot. Especially the German businessman. It reminded me of Belinda Blank here.
Yeah.
Although we have to talk about the song that this is essentially.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is apparently just another song.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, the Doom soundtrack is so great.
It's inspired, I guess, by I Will Survive.
Yes.
By Gloria, I can't remember.
Hey Harry, did you hear about that controversy with the IGN reviewer who was inspired by someone else's review?
This is Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, yeah.
I saw that, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So it's like that in the sort of the chord progression sounds the same, and it's got a sort of similar-ish thing. Apart from I Will Survive is all about this person has come back and now they don't want them, whereas this one is they've gone away and the person does want them.
It's a prequel. Fan prequel.
Yeah.
So the song after this is Happy Endings, and it's probably one of my lesser favourite songs from this album. I'm not a huge fan, but if it means that if this is what I have to endure to get to Do You Remember the First Time, then I don't mind at all. I mean, does anyone have anything to say about it? Because it didn't really
first of all,
that much.
Song called Happy Endings in the middle of the album. Bold move.
Alright, we've still got more to say.
I was just going to say that this is one of the ones where we've spoken about his vocals. This is one of the ones where it stuck out to me. Like, oh yeah, he does actually know how to sing. That's good. I like the slower sort of style to it. Almost sort of like a TV show opening at the beginning, I think. But anyway, Johnny, you were going.
Yeah, no, I really like this one, and I mean, yeah, it's called Happy Endings, but it's about wishing for a happy ending.
Okay.
So it's fair enough. It's not the end. It's not about a happy ending. But yeah, there's some brilliant emotion in his voice, I think, as he's sort of going, what's it like? Then you might get your happy ending. Those sort of chorus bits like really stuck out, and when listening to it most recently, I went, no, I do like this one. I like the slow contemplative style of it.
Yeah.
I think it belongs in BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, possibly. We can move on to Do You Remember the First Time, which I think is a very popular song between all four of us, and it's your favourite, right?
Well, I got there first, but I think I'm pretty sure all of us would have put it as my favourite, so I think we should listen to it.
So you've gotta go home, 'cause you're sitting on his own again this evening.
That's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah,
great
I
song.
mean, my second favourite and your favourite was A Critic Afternoons.
Yes.
And I think I said that like, I'm not, like, the lyrics are fine, they're whatever, but the chorus is so good, it kind of like amplifies the song to the next level, and I feel like this is just that, but more. Like, I like the chorus to this more than like energy.
Yeah. It's very guitar driven. The chorus is.
Whilst I'm not a huge fan of the lyrics, they're not terrible. They're not kind of. I wouldn't say like. I've only listened to the song 3 or 4 times, so it's not like I've gone on fucking one of those websites that spells out what everything's about. or, like, this is actually a reference to this book, which I'm just like, you know what?
It's not about Aaron Monk.
Yeah. I remember the first time I listened to this song, it was in this very room a while ago. It's obviously stuck with me because upon hearing it again, I was like, oh my god, I remember this. This is great. I do remember the first time.
Yeah, I think like a lot of other things, the first thing that you encounter in a variety of other things in a similar sort of style is the one that will stick out to you the most. It's the same. Babies is the one that stood out for me on the first listen because that's the song that I knew by Pulp long before I listened to the album in full.
Yeah.
So that's the one that stuck with me quite early on.
Also, if it just ended here, like, that would be great. The album just ended, I'll be like, oh yeah, that was a pretty damn good album. But no, it doesn't.
Yeah, there are a few other songs on it that continue the album a little extend its life, and they're not as good as the first 3 or 4 songs. Pink Glove is probably my favourite after Do You Remember the First Time. I quite like the groove, and I think what makes it memorable for me is the bass line. Which I remember, from Pink Glove, which to me thumps away, and it kind of, it builds the song up quite well.
You write Curly.
No, I just. This is another one where I thought cucking was like a recurring theme. Is that actually in it, Jono?
I can't really remember this song, so I don't really know.
I think it might be because like the song. I remember it's like sung from like a weird third-person perspective about a relationship, and I'm just like...
Well, he does do those, and sometimes it's just him like looking at this relationship going, I want to be with her. He's got quite a few of those where it's a girl who's with someone else and thinks it should be with him. Yeah.
Quite a cucked guy. I'm just going to keep saying that now.
I mean, in the previous one, to be fair, no, what he actually doesn't mind, I think, is being the one that they're having an affair with. So in the previous one, he says how, I don't care if you screw him, just as long as you save a piece for me.
Oh, that's...
It's not about watching, it's about being the... I don't know, I think he likes being the idea that he's the sexy one, or the one that's worth risking the relationship for.
God, yeah, this one, I think the vocals stood out for me, this one. He has like a pretty different sort of emotion behind them in Pink Glove. I want to say it's a bit more mad in this one, which I like.
Bit of mad.
Yeah, I get what you're coming from. So after Pink Glove, we get to the penultimate song on the album, Someone Like the Moon, which is also okay. The thing that stands out to me on this one is the again the interesting pitch synth sound as it ascends and descends in the verse. It's quite cool, and I like it. It's very interesting. Anyone else have anything to say about it?
Sort of, it got this nice sort of 8-bit back to
exactly
it with like a
is,
whisper over the top. It's quite good.
Didn't stick with me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's not one of those songs. And then we get to the final song, David's Last Summer, which is, I think, another thing I remember about Someone Like the Moon is that it is very, very slow. And when David's Last Summer comes on, it just picks up the pace quite a bit. It's a lot more upbeat, which is quite nice. And normally I like long finale songs, and especially, I don't know, maybe not in the 90s, but a lot of the albums that I've picked, the finale songs are quite long. And I really like most of them, but this one, I don't know, I don't think it warranted being 7 minutes long.
When it finishes, if you wait 10 minutes, then it's the name of this.
Wait till we get to that Placebo album, and you wait 10 minutes, and the bonus track is just called Evil Dildo. That's what you have to look forward to. But yeah, now actually, funny enough, the outro is probably my favourite part of the song because it sounds chaotic and insane. It's probably the most wild,
breaking down a bit.
Yeah. It's exactly how it sounds like.
But yeah, because the song is about just like doing nothing really over a summer and meeting up with people and whatever. And then I think it's like, then getting to the panic of it being over or whatever. Yeah. But no, it didn't quite hit the chord with me, but I kind of see what it was trying to do.
Sorry, I was just going to say, the song's pretty good when he's not speaking, is the note I wrote. It starts, and it's got sort of that sort of kind of synth back to it. It makes me think of like a Sonic City level. He's also got that sort of spooky kind of thing that comes in towards the end. If you know what I'm going on about that.
Yeah, no. I mean, he does that quite a lot. We were talking earlier how he can sound quite creepy and, kind of, he sends shivers down your spine at times, especially, again, Acrylic Afternoon is the one that kind of stands out to me on that front. But, so I guess we can come to giving a summary and what you'd rate the album out of 10. Who wants to start?
Tell us how the guy injured himself.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
All right, so...
cucking
So it was in the cupboard, right?
He was playing Twister.
Oh, that's a great
yeah, right. So he was trying to impress a girl, and so he thought, you know what I'll do?
Become a cuck.
If I climb out this window, and then I can like move along to the next window and climb in, that's going to be cool. So he climbs out of the window, then realizes he's not got enough strength to move on to the next window. He's not got enough strength to move up. And he's like, how high was he?
30 feet.
Yeah, he's 30 feet off the ground.
You're breaking your ankles there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so I can't remember how long he was stuck there, but he didn't want to drop because, it was a long distance and he didn't have the strength to do anything else. So he just hung out of the window for ages with this girl around. And then eventually he just had to drop down, and that's how he injured himself. And it did not work.
I think
so funny.
Yeah, Pulp were out for a bit, but when they did come back or when they were doing gigs, he would just sing in a wheelchair. That's how they just roll him on, and that's how he would perform his songs.
He wears glasses when he's not performing, but he takes them off because he had quite a few accidents on stage. Well, I think he had a few where it was all right. They went off, but he was able to like pick them up or do something else. And then there was one where they hit the drummer or something, or went flying off really far. And then he went, okay, no, I'm going to have to stop after this. Yeah, those are the two things I remember after hearing the interview with him.
I'm glad he's not a faker. Like, he writes about all this weird, shit about love, and, he actually is a weirdo.
You've misinterpreted a
I
lot.
mean, to be fair, interpreted. It's two sides of the same coin. What stuck out to me is what was in the album. Might have cherry-picked a few themes here and there. So we're going to give our overall...
I guess I'll go first. So, my love of this album comes, I think, I love the sound of the music, but I do, first and foremost, I do love Jarvis Cocker. And the things I love about him...
Jarvis Cocker!
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's alright. Again, what I love his style of singing. I think it's completely unique. It stands alone. When you see him perform live or in music videos, his style of of dancing is so eccentric and quirky, and he feels like he's just being really honest about everything that he does, and I quite like that. And I mean, you look if you look at pictures of him from the 90s, he looks like a young James Acaster. So that's who you imagine. Just imagine him doing weird dancing. And, he's as slim as him. Yeah, he's got the same kind of look.
I used to, like, last year with the length my hair was or something, I can't remember, but I used to look a bit like him, if you look at some of the pictures. But yeah, no, he's got a distinctive, weird, unique style. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll carry on now. Yeah, again, I love the sound of the music as well, not the film. And actually, there's another thing I wanted to mention. This Jarvis Cocker actually has a connection to Wes Anderson, because he had a cameo in Fantastic Mr. Fox. He voices one of the characters in that. And there's this great section of the film in which Mr. Fox is raiding all of the farmers' farms, I guess, to get all of their meat and everything. And Jarvis Cocker just composes this song, and all of the news reporters around him join in it. It's so funny, because Bean comes along, and he's voiced by Michael Gambon, who is Dumbledore from Harry Potter. And he listens to the song, and he cuts Jarvis Cocker off, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And then Jarvis Cocker, who's called Pete in the film, he says, "I was just making it up as I went along, really." And Michael Gambon goes, "That was just weak songwriting. You wrote a bad song, Pete." He flicks a cigarette at him and just walks off on it.
It's funny you mentioned Harry Potter, because
of course, yeah.
Because he's one of the weird sisters in the film, the wizard band that gets mentioned in the books, and also, well, I don't know if they get mentioned by name in the film, but he's in the background of, like, the ball scene in the
Yule
fourth
Ball,
one. Yeah, the Yule Ball
in the worst
performing.
Second worst, actually.
So it's weird if you look on like Jarvis Cocker's his own page on Spotify, like his top song is like a hippogriff something or other.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, anyway, so I'll finish off.
Back to the album.
Yeah, back to the album. So the more I listened to this album, the more I liked it a lot. I was originally going to give it an 8, but I think there's only one or two songs that I kind of dislike, so I think I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I really, really am a fan. Johnny, do you want to go next? You'll probably be the second highest, I imagine. You're quite a big pop fan, I know you've always been.
Yeah. So I think, well, it's not as good as Different Class. And it has got some weak songs in there, but then it's also got some very good, strong songs. Which I think I'm going to end up with like an 8 as the score for the album. I think that's alright. I don't really know how to score albums, because it's a collection of different things.
It is weird.
You can't just do it by the average, because if you average everything, like every album, I'd never have a 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or really 8 out of 10. They'd all like be at most 7, probably.
I know what you mean.
So
but at the same time, for me, if I don't give an album, if I'm going to give an album less than an 8, then I'm just not going to pick it as a Music Mates album. So I've only got 3 scores to choose between. It's a lot easier for me. So 8 out of 10, yeah?
Yeah,
cool.
I think so.
Tony, do you want to go next?
I'll go first. I have very few overall notes, because most of the things I've said have been applied to each individual song. And I think the thing that sticks out to me the most is that his vocal style really is unique, and it's outside of like the texture of things I would normally listen to. However, I think after immersing myself in this weird album for long enough, it's grown on me a lot more than I thought it would. So it's gone to a solid 7 out of 10 to me. And I just have some final notes. The album art is horrible. They got the same guy who did Deckard's character design in Blade Runner 2049 to just take a photo of them. They were just like, hey guys.
Oh, I quite like
that from there.
Yeah. Look like things from Madame Tussauds.
I think that's why did you say his second name's wrong? It was like back with Acaster.
Yeah, I was about to comment.
Yeah.
No, it's not relevant.
Yeah, I said Acaster.
It's Acaster.
It's Acaster. It's James Acaster.
Oh, God, that's the second time that's happened. I think originally I must have said Acaster, and then I thought that was wrong, so I changed it to Acaster. Oh well.
Alright.
I like the uncanny look.
I think that's just their faces, though. That'd just be a bit rude.
No, it's an effect that's been done to the effect.
Well, our miserable keyboardist Julia Doyle, she's on the album cover. I think it's the band, isn't it? I mean, it must be,
it is the band. But it's the guitarist who looks like the weirdest, just in his yellow suit off to the side, staring straight at the camera.
Yeah. And Jarvis Cocker, he's hugging someone, isn't he? Or he's with his arms around someone.
Anyway, and my other note is that Lonely Island are good. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Right, so I probably like this the least. Maybe it's because I don't like Jarvis Cocker as much as you guys. I didn't know all this weird trivia on seeing in the music videos. I'm just talking about the songs, and I liked 3 or 4 of them, mainly because of the chorus and not really because of the lyrics. And the rest of them were pretty average, to be honest. So I think it's the weakest thing we've done in Music Mates. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay, alright.
So I was wondering if it was going to be a 6 or 5 from you.
No, not 5, because I like 4 of the songs. 4 of the songs are like high 7s, low 8s. So that kind of lifts it up.
Yeah, but you'll admit you have a liking for just giving things 5.
It's slightly above average. It's not average.
Uh-huh.
Alright, so I guess we can move on to our second album, which probably won't go as long for His and Hers, because there's so many of them, and they're all kind of just songs from the album, aren't they? I can't say anything more than that is. Anyway, so the last, or just Last Splash, I actually wrote The Last Splash and crossed it out because I realised that's actually not what it's called. Last Splash, the album was released on August the 31st, 1993.
It actually was released 1993.
Yeah, I actually got something right for it.
We could get the whole podcast is out.
What year was this album released?
Well, it was on a new year. No, he needs to do his intro.
Yeah, you should have saved that.
I see a segue, I take it.
From Iron Man.
So it's the second album. It's the second album by alternative rock, famously a 4-man band, the Breeders. The band.
Well, 3 women and 1 man.
Yeah, it is 3. Yeah, man's drummer, isn't it? Yeah, Kim Deal and Kelly Deal. They also they look like twins.
The more I learn about these people, I like them. Whereas the other one, the more I learn, I was like, I'm gonna hang from a window, you fucking weirdo.
So the band originated from Boston, Massachusetts, and consist of, when this album was released anyway, Kim Deal on guitar and lead vocals, Kelly Deal, who is Kim's twin sister and also plays guitar as well as backup vocals, Josephine Wiggs on bass and also backup vocals, and Jim McPherson, who is the male member of the band, on drums. And this is the notable lineup. So the group was formed in 1989 by Kim Deal of alternative rock pioneers the Pixies and Tanya Donnelly of Throwing Muses. Both Kim and Tanya felt unsatisfied with their lack of creative control in their respective bands and met up to discuss possible side projects while on tour together. Using the name of the band Kim was in with her sister when they, in their teenage years, Kim formed the Breeders with Tanya and Britt Walford on drums. Their first album, Pod, from 1990, was instantly successful, with Kurt Cobain having famously said it was one of his favourite albums. Soon after the recording, Tanya left to form her own group when Kim finally brought in her own sister as the replacement. 3 years later, Walford was replaced by McPherson. The Pixies had officially broken up, leaving its bassist to focus purely on her guitar skills for the Breeders. And with Last Splash, and Cannonball especially, the band began to receive serious attention, proving how in tune the Breeders were with the commercial rock tastes of the early 90s. Unfortunately, in 1994, Kelly was arrested for drug possession and was sent to rehab in Minnesota, with the rest of the band had to be put on hold for. The 1995 album Pacer was almost completely self-written by Kim, who had learned to play the drums and assembled a temporary lineup with a new band named The Amps. Though Breeders' break was supposed to be temporary, the band was out for several years, and in 2002, with Kelly back in again, the band released Titled TK, their third album after 9 years. Mountain Battles was released in 2008 as their most recent album was released this year, with backing vocals featuring Courtney Barnett. An album, in fact, released a quarter of a century after their biggest hit, Cannonball. The Last Splash. So, yeah, I guess that's a bit about the history. We can dive right in. So, New Year, the first track, I've said this time and time again, I listened to it again this morning and it grew on me a little bit, but I still think it's unnecessary. I think if you kick off with Cannonball, that's the strong start this album needs.
Well,
Although you guys
I like
think differently, don't you?
I like the slow build up that it has, and sort of the discords that it has, which like sets the tone of the rest of the album.
Yeah.
And then it becomes much reaches this fast paced section, spoken vocals, and then it just suddenly ends and it goes into the next song. And I think it's good. It's like 1 minute 58. It's
The one thing I'd say is the abrupt ending and the kind of the fact that it's just under 2 minutes. I love this. Well, I wouldn't say I love the album overall, but I love the fact that it's 40 minutes long and there's 15 tracks. And like, even if there's a bad song, it's not 6 minutes long. It's like 2 minutes and that's over.
Yeah.
And when you're getting kind of more different music again and again, I feel like the pace of it definitely helps.
No, I know exactly what you mean. If you have an album where most of the songs are 4 minutes and you have one at the end that's like 8 minutes long, then the 8 minute one will feel longer. The longest song on this is like 4 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is probably the worst song, in fact. And I think that dilution means you're used to short songs and that's what you're kind of in tune with. And then you get one that's kind of longer, but 4 minutes just isn't a long song. And that's kind of what...
So Cannonball's my second favourite, and I think it's if I was trying to be objective, which you can't be, it's the best. Let's listen to it. So Cannonball's pretty good. But I'm glad they started with New Year, unlike you. But Ethan, why don't you tell us a little bit about Cannonball?
Yeah, sure. So Cannonball is obviously one of my favourite songs, and it's probably the best one. I mean, I don't think it's... for me, I don't think it's really up to debate, but...
Well, if you haven't mentioned it, it's me that's picked Cannonball.
I thought it was Ethan.
I thought it was you.
No, I thought it was you.
I thought it was me.
I picked it.
Sorry.
just to say. But yeah, Ethan, you continue on with your...
Okay, yeah. I'm really sorry. I thought you asked me because you were done talking about what you liked about the song. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll say the rest of it then. I guess not. Okay, all right.
You two, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'll continue. So, the intro is great, isn't it? So good.
Yeah, it's great intro.
And I like the fact that straight afterwards the drums kicking with this cool little... I mean, it reminds you of bongos, but what I like about it is when you see them play it live, he's not hitting any drum parts, he's hitting the stands, isn't he? Or the underside of the drums, which is quite cool.
So good.
Yeah. And I also like...
Sorry, it just sticks in your head.
Yeah, it's like a really cool, like wobbling sound.
Maybe that would have been a good start to the album. I'm torn now.
It would have been a great start to the album. I mean, it's still great as a second song. I mean, obviously, it's great at any point in the album. But yeah, I think it would have benefits from being the first one. I also like the fact that when they also perform it live, Deal, Kim, not Kelly, she uses two mics for two different types of singing. So she has one that's really distorted and feedbacked for the intro, and the chorus when it's a lot more muffled, and she wants to go for that kind of contrast and interesting vocal dynamic, which I quite like. Another thing I'll mention really quickly before I go on to you, Johnny, is I like the fact that when the bass starts in, it sounds like the last note that it plays is not in the right key. Have you noticed that, or do you know what I mean? It's like a down, down, when the drums kick in, it just sounds
leaves you
like...
expecting more at the end.
It does. And so I like the fact that it kind of misleads you slightly in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So yeah, go on, tell us why you like this one, Johnny.
I mean, it's catchy as hell. It just feels so brilliantly crafted and well put together, sort of each bit, and it's sort of propelled by this. It's propelled by the riff mostly, but it's just very fast and I don't know. It just has motion to it, this song. The music video is just like a cannonball rolling along in different places, which isn't the best music video, but I can see the point it's sort of making. In terms of what the song's actually about, this made me like it even more finding out about it, but it's Kim Deal basically just writing a fuck you to Black Francis, the guy from the Pixies.
Oh, really?
That is... Yeah, so if you think about the beginning, that sort of woo, woo, it's kind of like the sound at the start of Where Is My Mind? And then in Where Is My Mind, you've got stop, and then it goes into the rest of the song, which the Pixies made. In this one, it's just her basically doing what she wants to do because now she's got that freedom.
Yeah.
And then the whole sort of "I'm the last splash" is as the sort of I'm the last laugh kind of. I'm the last thing to come out of this band. I'm still here. I'm still going.
Yeah. When I listen to songs by the Pixies, I'm so glad that Kim Deal started her own band where she could do what she wanted to do. Because you listen to something like "Gigantic" for example, which is one of the best songs by the Pixies, and it was all self-composed by Kim Deal, and she wrote the lyrics for it and everything. And it's one of their standout songs. And I wish that they had let her. Well, I wish that she had more of a a part in the band, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, it's nice to see albums like this.
Yeah, so I like that. Like the song that they're probably best known for is the one which is just like "fuck you, Pixies."
Yeah. So if no one else has anything to say, we can move on to "Invisible Man," which is I think is quite a strong song as well. I think it's a lot more grungier than the previous ones. It sounds more melancholy, and it's got a haunting feel to it, especially in the chorus for me. I quite like it. What do you guys think?
It's not one of my favourites, but it's still pretty decent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm never going to be able to disassociate it with the Dance EJ sample, "I'm the Invisible Man." Which, but yeah, I have very little to say about this one.
Funny you bring up Dance EJ for later on. I think this one's most intense of the ones we've had so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like it amps up a bit. And I like the guitar sound. There's like a nice sort of repetitive section somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
It
stands out.
Yeah, I think from the opening it's got the drum is very regimented and the guitar goes along with that. Can't quite remember off the top of my head, this is just from my notes. But yeah, and it's got a wistful sound throughout.
I like the way that it ends because you've got these wind chimes, haven't you, before it leads into "No Aloha." And I think it kind of takes you by surprise because the wind chimes really stop quite abruptly and unexpectedly, which is it's quite well done. So yeah, leading on to "No Aloha" again. It's a similar wavelength to the previous song for me, and I also really, really like this one. What's good about this song is I think it's really well layered because it starts off quite basic and it's got maybe one sound, and then gradually the other members join in, and you've got the guitar coming in, and then when the drums come in, that's really when the song starts to take off, I think.
Yeah. I mean, my problem with the song is I don't particularly like the sort of beginning minute whilst it's getting its shit together. But once it's got its shit together, it's a great song. But yeah, it just sort of annoys me because this is the one that starts with like the.
What she's saying, "No Aloha."
I think I imagine that's what she's saying, but it just sort of puts me off. And then it takes like another 40 seconds to get going. But yeah, it's alright, I guess.
Yeah, I think the vocals really stand out in this one because the way they used contrast to his and hers Pulp, where they were like really discordant with the background. This one they sort of blend more in, like they're more sort of muffled. And this one it's like, oh, I can actually like hear it and pay attention to it more. Which is why Roy Batty, which has no vocals, is my favourite song.
Yeah. In fact, lead on to Le Roi.
Roy Batty.
Yeah, it's your favourite, right, Tony?
It is, and let's listen to it now. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. It's probably one of the longer ones, and it feels longer as well because it takes about like half of the song to like properly get up and get going.
Yeah,
and it's got this sort of like offbeat, sort of discordant like cacophony to it. I like it a lot more. It feels like they've just chucked in like loads of crazy sound effects into this one.
Yeah, that's specifically the really long breakdown section, isn't it? After the guitar's kind of had its way for a little bit, everything quietens down and you get this really cool... I don't even know how to describe it. It is, like you say, a cacophony. I don't even know what fucking new words to use, but it is...
In my notes, I've described it as experimental synth sounds for surprisingly long.
Yeah. Yeah,
The more I
I
think,
like it.
I think I wasn't too keen on it, but I think the kind of third or fourth time I've listened to it, it kind of grows on you. I feel like it works better listening to it on its own than just part of the album as a whole, because it kind of gets lost because it's just noise. It's not really. I wouldn't really call it a song.
This song has gone from me like disliking it to me not really caring about it as I've listened to it. So it's got better, but no. Yeah, I like the guitar bits at the beginning and the end.
Yeah, for that middle section, they had their Soundation menu, and they went past all the instruments to choose, and they went to MISC. They just clicked all of those. Yeah, I like its build to it quite a bit, and it's just like it feels like it really pays off once it starts going. And the problem with like all the other songs to me is like by the time I'm into it, it's over. So this one, it feels like, oh, I'm into it and I've got the better half of the song to listen to now, which is good to me.
Yeah, no, I get what you're coming from.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that it's basically instrumental. There's one line in it, and it's at the start,
Yeah.
and then you have the really, really cool breakdown section, and then the riff comes back in, and you have the one line spoken again. I can't quite remember what it was, but I do like the line a lot. And I think it's a really cool effect. And so for me, the breakdown section, I really like it. It goes on for just a bit too long for me, but I like the fact that it kind of keeps you engaged because it kind of has different variations of that one riff over and over again to make you think something's going to come back in at some point. So yeah, we have the next song, which is Harry's favourite, right? Do You Love Me Now? Do you love me now?
If I saw you now, could I look in your eyes? Do you think of me like I dream of you?
Yeah, this is definitely my favourite. I think on my initial listen, this is the one that really jumped out to me. Even upon hearing it for the first time, like it's pretty kind of early. It's in the first third of the album, but I just knew this was like nothing was going to top this one. I like the kind of slow pace. I like how it kind of slowly builds. It starts with that kind of bass, and then it comes in with the drums, and then there's just more and more of the vocals.
It's got like a heavier chorus.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really again like whilst with the other I can't remember what they're called now, pulp. It kind of, there were songs where the lyrics were very prominent, and I wasn't a big fan of them. The lyrics are very prominent, but I like the sound of the vocalist's voice. I like the kind of the content of the lyrics. I just like the song in general.
Yeah, she has an excellent resonance, I think, with the backup vocalists and the guitar sound as well.
It's also quite different to anything else on the album. That's the kind of, it definitely stood out to me as being the most unique, and along with Cannonball, definitely my favourite one.
I think something that helps with this song is the way it's mixed. It's, I think, the loudest one that's come along so far, and that helps with how, like, the vocals, you said, they have a bit more power behind them, and then the sort of, you know, static mumbling sort of comes in. Yeah. It's got a pretty solid quality to it. It was definitely one that I was considering for my favourite, apart from Roy Batty.
Yeah. Okay, so we come on to my... Well, I don't know, Cannonball's the best one, but this is my favourite.
There's a really good segue to be had there, Ethan. It's called Flip Side.
Yeah, well, that's in my notes. I've like got a bit where I've just put faster, happy, energetic riff, very different from before. Hence flip side, I guess. And then just on the end, instrumental.
Yeah, in fact, the first word that I've written after flip side is instrumental as well, and I think that's one of the reasons I like it. It's there's no vocals at all. It's I mean, that's not That's not me suggesting that I don't like Kim Deal's singing. I like it a lot. I just think it's a nice a change from what we've heard so far.
So it's interesting how instrumentals can. I don't know. They have a slightly different feel to them. So thinking of I've forgotten all the instrumentals I like, but a lot of them they have a different sort of feel to ones with lyrics because
I guess it's the fact if you have the absence of the vocals, then you could pay more attention. I think on the actual sounds.
Yeah, and there's one. I think it's what are they called? Can't remember the name, but there's an instrumental I just love, and it's just called "Judy is a Dick Slab," and you want lyrics to explain it, but you just listen to the song and go, "Well,
I agree."
They've called it that." It just makes it more interesting.
Like I said, it's an instrumental. It's short. It's punky. It's got a surf rock like tone to it.
Like a beach theme.
Yeah, exactly. And like Miles Teller, it doesn't slow down. There's a great moment, I think. It's one of my favourite moments on the entire album, towards the end, where all of the instruments just stop, and there's one lead guitar that plays a riff for maybe not even maybe a second, and then everything comes back in. It just sounds really explosive. I like the way it's done. So yeah, that's flip side. Right after that, this is when we get to the songs on the album that are just songs on the album. You can't really say more than that. So I just want to get along.
Most of them are pretty good. Apart from the ones that aren't songs.
Yeah, these last half has grown on me.
Yeah,
I like it.
Along. Yeah, I didn't like it the first time.
I still like it.
Especially Driving All Night, which is one of the best songs on the album.
Anyway, so we're at I Just Want to Get Along now. I can't particularly remember this
If anyone
one.
disagrees with me, come on, we're not going to get along here.
I Just Want to Get Along. Yeah, it's got a really strong bass line. It's got a good solo. Oh yeah, that's right. So this song was sampled by The Prodigy, and there are 2 songs on this album that are sampled by that band. One of which is this one, and the song that they sampled it for is called "World on Fire." "World on Fire," which is from Invaders Must Die. It's quite a good song actually, as well. So yeah, just a bit of factual knowledge there for you.
Yeah. Well, my notes on it is energetic riff, heavy drums, spoken chorus, punctuated by drums.
Yeah. After I Just Want to Get Along, you have Mad Lucas, which is probably my least favourite song on the album. I don't like it at all. It's too long. It just doesn't. The album works best for me when, like Harry said, the songs are short and they're fast paced. And yeah, again, like Harry said, if you don't like it, if you're not a fan of it, then it's over really very quickly. So you don't have a long time to complain.
It's just like the Star Wars prequels. It's too long. There's a mess of bad ideas in there. I just want it to end.
Well, I've heard that it's got a sort of like a water-like effect on it. I think I mostly didn't like that, but I think it might have been growing on me a bit near the end. But it's minimal backing. I've described the backing as like slide and rattling, and it's very, very repetitive. And in the end, I put more endurance tests than song.
I've just got the notes that it's sort of this old-timey kind of song with, I want to say, like a radio effect through like the vocals. That sort of stood out. I mean, I don't remember liking it, but at least I remember that.
I don't remember anything about it really.
Well, you remember the funny joke that you made about it that you completely...
I forgot I made about it. Right, should we move on to Divine Hammer?
Yeah, one of the better albums.
I thought someone was gonna... One of the better albums of the song. I thought someone was gonna pick this as one of their favourites because you guys were talking about it so much, and I thought, it's not that good. But then upon re-listening to it, I thought, actually, this is just a very good, solid song.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if this is me just touching straws because I've listened to very little music. But like, there is a kind of like, in terms of this album's consistency, there is kind of like a Depeche Mode-ness to it. There's so many solid, like, good song after good song. And this one, despite being a bit repetitive, it's quite unique. I definitely like it now more than I did the first time. And
yeah. So I don't really know how to describe it in musical sense, but I've just put that it's oh so happy, cheery riff, rolling
really
drums.
upbeat,
It just puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, me too.
It's got this dreamy, slidey solo. It just makes me happy to listen to. So yeah, that's why it stands out to me. Is it I don't know. It makes me happy.
And like Cannonball, when you listen to that one divine hammer. It just gets stuck in your head like
It does.
all day.
It's,
so
it's
catchy.
relaxing, and I wonder if they were choosing between this and Immigrant Song for Thor's theme song.
No, they should have used this in
So
Shrek.
big, cross my mind.
Could you imagine that playing as the birds and the animals just come, rampaging round them?
Sorry, SOS isn't a song, is it? We can't.
No, it's not, but I still
Fast
like
riff,
SOS.
quick
Isn't
instrumental.
it filler? Like I can't. I crossed it out, so it can't. It's got to be like under a minute.
Yeah.
It's
I
quite
mean, I
Maybe
think
not
it's,
under a minute, but
I
it is
think
on a
it
2 minute
is good.
special.
But
I think
it's
it's good.
it's way too short for me to consider like
Yeah, I just crossed it
enjoyable
out.
in a
I'm
way.
just like I can't talk about this because it's just in the song.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, it's really short. It feels to be quite angry and adrenaline pumped in a way. And there's this cool dissonance between the two guitar parts for me, and which I quite like. And also, this is the second song on the album, which the Prodigy sampled for probably the most famous song, Firestarter. There's a section in here which is on that song. Yeah, I'm a Firestarter. Yeah,
really.
a part of this song is on that song. So yeah, so they earn a lot of royalties from that. It's kind of like how in a much more unfair example, the Verve sampled a song by the Rolling Stones, "The Bittersweet Symphony," and they've not been able to make any money off of it, and it's the one song that made them famous, which is really not cool. So after SOS we have Hag.
It's good.
Yeah, Hag is really good.
Hi.
Yeah, first time through I didn't like this. It's grown on me though, and I do like the lyrics. I think
It's
it's
fun.
probably
I like
got
the
the strongest lyrics in the album.
Yeah, I'd say so as
I
well.
like it. It's great. What a good album.
Yeah, I agree.
To me, it didn't stick out much. Again, it's the one that started the. Well, it sounds like it's. I don't know. It doesn't really do anything.
It's like
with
they're doing
the-
a stereotype of themselves. Aren't they?
Yeah, it feels like they've just established a theme and then they're just doing it again. I don't know.
So after Hag,
Saints, on the other hand,
yeah, Saints. This is a really good one. This is one of
Yeah.
my favourites. I
For me,
like
it's
it a
about
lot.
coupledry.
he's bringing it back.
I've described it as badass style song, pumping riff between verses, swagger in vocals.
Yeah, this one is definitely more upbeat.
Yeah, it's much more
Yeah,
guitar
so-
riff driven, this one as well, which I quite like compared to just chords. This is actually like a solid riff and everything, which makes it stand
The
out.
voice-
This
the
is
voice-
Borderlands opening.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. It's been a while since I've listened to it, so I can't remember if it actually would fit that.
But
But
Land's Opening, just 5 hours of doing nothing.
So after Saints we have the second last song, which is I feel like I might be the contrarian
It
song
is
because
the last song though. Ethan. Come on.
Oh yeah, I guess it technically is the last song because
Yeah.
the last song doesn't really count, does it? I'm not a big fan. I found it a bit too slow and dull. I've not listened to it that many times. I probably should listen to it again. But normally when I listen to the album on the go, I skip past it because I kind of made my mind up about it. Although I know you guys like it, don't you?
I like it.
I think it's nice.
I feel
Yeah?
like it's like you said, it's nice. It's definitely it's a bit different.
Yeah, it shakes it up a bit. It's more of like a sort of
It's
guitar
good note to end
strummy
on, I'd
texture
say.
to it. And
yeah.
it's like a medieval fantasy village. That's what I'm getting.
Oh,
You
that's
said
such a
no.
good comparison. Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. I can see that.
I mean, I see it coming out of one of those old style radios.
Yeah,
but-
it's definitely got that too.
Yeah, soft and gentle. I mean, first time I listened to it, it just annoyed me. It's grown on me then. I think it is good, but yeah, it's got a contemplative feel and is very different from the rest of the album. Is what I think about it.
Yeah. And then we get to the final song on the album, which to me I don't really like because it's unnecessary and it's basically just a shorter section of its original, which is Le Roi, but this one's the reprise version, I guess,
Right.
if you're doing it in a French accent. There's nothing really new
Which
about
just
it.
means it's more grungy, but and
shorter.
shorter,
Yeah.
which is why I gave it 1 extra point.
I didn't consider it. I just kind of crossed this out.
I just don't think you need it because it doesn't show you anything, or it's not a rendition
Alright,
of
understand
the
this.
previous. If I don't like it, let's say this, and I don't like this one as well.
Gave the album 10.
So I don't consider it part of the album though.
Yeah, I don't
It
consider
starts
this part
with
of the
Smells
album.
Like Teen Spirit and it ends with Something in the Way, and everything in between is gold, and everything outside of that is not.
This ends on Driving on 9.
Yeah.
It ends on Cannonball. Kidding. It's got some good songs.
Okay, so before we summarise, I've got a little very short quiz for you guys. It's
Already
called...
over an hour.
Yeah, sorry. The quiz is called, is this a sexual euphemism from a Breeders song or isn't it? Yay! So,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, I've been inspired by Tony's
that's
amazing
a sex
quizzes
reference,
on his
buddy.
Oh my god. Alright,
What have I
so
done?
basically, I'm going to say a line and it may be from a Breeders song or it may not be. And if you think it is from a Breeders song, you've got to say true. And if you think it is, then you've also got to tell me what song it's from. And if you do, and it's correct, then you get a bonus point.
And when I read through all the lyrics, so you'd think
What,
I'd
all
have
songs?
an advantage.
Okay, alright. Well, we'll see how you do. And if you don't, if you get it wrong, then...
I'm going to suck at this.
Okay, alright. So, the first one is... The muscle pierces, it's a poser.
I'm
We'll
waiting
go
for
around.
Jono.
Tony, you go first.
I'm feeling no.
Johnny?
I'm feeling no.
Harry?
Yeah.
I've got to be contrary, haven't I? I've got to say yes.
It's false.
Ah,
So,
damn
point
it.
to Tony and point to Johnny. The second one is... I like sticky everywhere. Look around, you bet I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that
Great.
is. Yeah.
Oh, what's the song? You gotta tell me.
I won't be able to tell you.
I want to say lip gloss, but I don't know.
Lip gloss.
Am I being an idiot? Is that the right
For
one?
now.
Fuck. Wait, what? I thought Pub was the pedo one. What are we going on about?
No, but this one's got like a... But I mean... look,
Divine Hammer is just I want to have sex.
yeah,
I thought it was
basically.
about Mjolnir.
Is it I just want to get along? I just want to get along with my...
Oh
Is
yeah,
that your
mate,
final?
you are
That's
right.
my
Ethan, I'm such an idiot. They've blurred into one,
It's alright,
even
it's
though they're
alright.
completely different.
Yeah. Johnny, what do you think? And don't look it up if that's what you're doing.
No, I'm just reminding myself of all the songs. I mean, Divine Hammer, I guess maybe... yeah, no, I just don't know.
Okay. So it is true, but it's not from that song. The song it's from is Saints.
Ah,
So you all get a point for saying it was right. The third one is... Where the shot leaves me gagging for the arrow.
I'm going to say no.
Tony?
No.
I'm going to say no.
So you're all wrong. It's from Leroy. It's the only line that gets repeated.
just...
See, I just think it's an instrumental, that song. I didn't notice
Well,
the
she
line.
does say something at the beginning and then at the end, but it is very muffled, so... That's
Yeah.
why
Muffling.
this quiz.
If you had said... or something.
Yeah, I think I probably just thought it was sounds, because I never noticed that, really.
Yeah,
I
that's fair enough.
just consider that one of the instrumentals on
That's
the,
alright.
the album.
Question 4, or I guess line 4. Let me be your inverted mountain.
No.
See, I don't think so.
Tony?
No.
Yeah, you're all right. Well done. I made that up. So,
It's all twins.
a favourite would be if my peak was with me.
I'm saying yes.
I'm saying no.
I'm also going to say... yeah, no.
Yeah, you two are right. You're wrong, Harry.
Damn
Sorry.
it.
I made that up.
Thought you were going on the
'Cause it-
mountain theme, you know?
Because it
Um,
rhymes.
yeah.
Or like the lyrics in the song. In the song.
You're the rod, I'm water.
That's it. That's Divine
Yeah.
Hammer.
Yeah, that's in there.
Correct. It is from Divine Hammer, and you get a bonus point as well for it.
Jump in before you.
Yeah. I'd bang it all day. The carpenter goes bang.
I'm going to say yeah.
I think that's also from Divine. Or it's similar to lines in Divine Hammer.
Okay, sorry.
I'm going to say yes, that's in there.
And would either of you like to suggest a song?
No.
However,
Divine Hammer.
Invisible Man.
So you're both right, and you
Yeah.
both get a point for Divine
Yeah, I
Hammer.
wasn't sure if that was the exact lyrics, but there's definitely a bit about her banging with a hammer, and people are like, is she doing the banging,
Yeah.
or is she getting banged?
Okay, line 8, one Divine Hammer.
That's
yeah,
not in the
that's
song.
from Divine Hammer. I'm having that bonus point, please.
Yeah.
Did you put me down as getting no points?
Knocking around, I wish our puzzle pieces would meet.
I'll say no.
I'm going to say yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
You're both wrong, Johnny's right. No.
I've got to catch up somehow. I've got to...
Oh, there's only one left.
Oh, you see. I've got to get this right hand, sort of.
Let me into your ecstasy-infused playground.
I'm just going to say yeah, why not? I don't really know.
Is it Mad Lucas? No, this is in Roy Reprise.
This doesn't ring any bells, so I'm going no, but I'm probably wrong.
Johnny is right again.
Yes.
So Johnny has won by like a mile.
He's the lyrics master.
It's because I try to work out what each lyric, each song is about, and look at the lyrics. So I have slightly more confidence if I've not heard it.
So yeah, Johnny wins by well, let's say a landslide. Why not? 12, and you guys drew on 8.
Damn.
Will we be giving the album an 8 though? Let's find out.
All right. Okay. So I guess we get to I get to the summary
Let's
section.
find out.
So one of the things I like about this band is that I found out later on in their career they did a lot of producing with Steve Albini, who did In Utero with Nirvana, and just simple association makes me like, you know, bands like these more. Just that. Yeah, I like. So in fact, when Cobain was talking about why he loved the first album by his band so much, one of his reasons he gave was because there's such a disrespect for song structure, and I kind of agree with him. I mean, their songs just have no structure; they just do whatever they want. You know, most songs are like verse, chorus, solo, verse, chorus, or just ends on a chorus, and they kind of just do what they want, which I really, really like. It's the Cowboy Bebop of albums, I guess you could say. So I love that, for starters. I think Kim Deal is an amazing vocalist. I think, as I've previously mentioned, I think her resonance with the songs that she plays work hand in hand with each other. They're really, really good. Yeah, they work well. So I'm going to give this album an 8 out of 10.
Cool.
Who wants to go next?
I don't know who's going.
So we go counterclockwise. There a rule I don't know.
I'll go
I think
next.
we normally go like we try and work out what the scores are going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I think from what I've heard about the band, basically just looking at the lyrics and Cannonball and their sort of freeish style, it does feel like their whole sort of band, not quite philosophy, but the feel around the band is just, it feels free, a lot of their songs, both probably from the structure of music and from being part of the Pixies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's got a great freedom. There are bits that remind me of the Strokes, I think, especially the way the lyrics sometimes like blend in with the guitar and things like that. But yeah, they, despite saying they like disregard music structure, they have a great ear, I guess, for what should happen with the notes.
Yeah.
That is shown by Cannonball.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
perfectly, each thing, you feel like you've got lots of layers and little bits that all just line up to create
You're right, they
song.
don't stick by the rules, but it's not like their songs are a mess or anything like that.
This isn't what's it called? The End of Nirvana.
Endless Nameless.
Endless Nameless. You know, they keep the strings on the guitar.
They don't start playing cricket in the studio, do they? As well.
Fucking hate cricket.
Oh yeah, sorry Tony. I'll stop trying to mention that.
Yeah, I mean this album has just grown on me a lot, and forgetting that Mad Lucas is on there, it's a 9 out of 10.
Oh, excellent, fantastic.
Right.
Hang on. Before you say something, I also wanted to mention really quickly that I love the fact that Kim Deal was part of the Pixies, and the Pixies and Sonic Youth basically just created alternative music in the late 80s.
Just like to say, this might be a mediate first round. Johnny, you give us a higher score than everyone
Yeah,
else.
if I was going to ask you, right, because I know that I'm going to get a 10 from Harry for an album, and I know that Tony's already given me a 10 for an album. Do you think there is any album that we'll do a music mix that you may give a 10 for?
Obviously, I'm going to give you just
yes.
1 10. You know I'm giving you 2 10s.
Yes.
And maybe also another yes, maybe another yes. Yeah, there can be some.
Alright, fantastic.
We'll see when I listen to all the songs off that album, but I think it's definitely one.
Alright, okay, alright. Awesome.
Do you want me to go next?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just like a really solid album. I think it's a lot of fun. I like the sound. I'd probably listen to a few of the tracks. I don't know if I'd listen to the whole thing again, but I'd listen to. That's normally my test. It's above a 7. It's not. It's a really solid 7. It's probably the highest 7 we've done so far.
The house moving castle of our albums.
It's pretty similar to Depeche Mode in terms of not the music. It's just like
It's actually good.
I've just grouped it together with Depeche Mode. And so, yeah,
And I shudder every time you do that. you do that in a good way, but comparing
we
to
finished
Depeche
now.
Mode,
You
it's
can
not
enjoy
good
the
for me.
silence.
To me, I like Depeche Mode. It's just like I listen to it and I get to enjoy the silence. I'm like, that was fun, and I stop.
It's kind of kicked off with Violator because the amount of things that we just link it with now, music makes.
It's just because we've only listened
We're
to
in
like
the-
3 albums.
Yeah,
either.
We're in the Depeche Mode group cult.
Yeah, totally sorry.
All right. So as we've been going through the songs, we've tried to point out the good things, but we haven't had time to roast them because
neither of them are Red Faction Gorilla.
Because I do have a few problems with this.
Sabotage that podcast.
Just like Ethan's, is it your like
SD card converter from micro to standard size.
Speaking, we lost the Depeche Mode podcast, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
what do you know?
Don't piss off the sound guy.
Speaking of sound,
this is where it's just silence as you complain.
That's a really visual joke.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the way this is like balanced between the vocals is something that sort of is kind of off-putting to me, because part of me, when I listen to songs, the vocals are the part that I want to pay attention to and have the rest of the song support, by the fact that throughout me analysing I have always referred to things as either the vocals or the backing. So when this one, it just sort of feels like they treat like vocals as just a sort of type of instrument, when I want to like pay attention to them more. And it sort of leads to me feeling like the overall texture of this album that is shown when they don't like spice it up with something different like Saints or Divine Hammer, it just falls back on this sort of sound that doesn't have as much impact as I would have liked. And I'm like, we compared it to Garbage, and I'm like, no, I went to listen to Push It by Garbage, and within 10 seconds it had like the energy that I normally expect to get from songs. And while and it's just one of the songs I've listened to, that's why I've compared it to it. And it's just like, I don't know, it's very technically well put together, but just sometimes I just want it to like rise a bit more. And like the fact that it gets to, apart from Roy, it gets to like the good bit, and then I'm like, oh well, I guess it's over at this point. Like it doesn't get to that intensity and then stick there, which is what I want from songs. And I suppose if you're into sort of a more like drawn out, more slower thing, then this is for you. But for me it really isn't. But there are parts that I do like Roy Batty is a good sort of synth. I just called it that now. Synth song.
Just as long as you remember that lip gloss isn't on this album.
Fair enough.
Just remember the babies isn't some weird Aramaki sensei cock fantasy.
Yes, it was interesting because I had heard this before I went into properly like analyze it, and I was like, it's more my texture that I would go for, and his and hers wasn't. And so the scores I've given, I expected to give, are now flipped to what I've actually given. So this one gets a 6. But there are still songs that I really like. I'm still glad you picked it, Ethan.
Oh, good.
We've got this ascending scale in there in both of these albums, actually. 6, 7, 8, 9.
That is true.
And,
I was worried with you, because I know that in the past you've not been a massive fan of songs or bands that have a bit more of a raw, unrefined kind of tone to them, like Nirvana, for instance. Yeah. So I was worried with this one. I thought you might have the same issue.
This one, I think it's a bit better with female vocals. They're just a bit better suited to being a bit more calmer and relaxed, and which, I don't know, I guess it's just kind of the fact that it's a personal preference for me to prefer songs that have a bit more impact to them. And this one's just a bit too laid back for when it falls back on that album style. But yeah, when it shows up, it's good. Is that where we're leaving it?
Actually,
Garbage about
I know you hate tangents, so I'll keep this really quickly. When you have
for a bit this podcast,
DY/DX.
No. When you have lyrics in a song, do you prefer it if they're more blunt and they're more forward about what they're singing about, or do you prefer if they're more kind of descriptive?
When it's more like, oh, you listen to it and you think you form a picture in your head, and it's always going to be rough, because there's no way that a song that has to fit to like a rhyming structure or a repeating chord structure is accurately going to throw out all the details of a narrative. It's more just a feeling or just a set of events that evoke emotions. And so it's more like I would prefer it to just be what it is. Be like, yeah, babies, something about cucks, something about sisters, and not have to go like it's actually about this if you go and look it up, what it's about. And I'm like, okay, fair enough.
I mean, I didn't have to look it up.
Yeah,
to know
fair,
what it's
All
about.
right, fair enough. But I just listened to
we've
it.
listened to that song so many times. you listened to this album the
Like
other day, so
twice,
it's
yeah,
like
3
fair.
times.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's more that, I don't know, especially since I don't look at the lyrics, like I just listen to it, so when it's more muffled I'm like, well, I'm just going to listen to the muffly sound. But yeah, but I'm glad you picked it still.
Good. Okay, I guess that concludes 1993 and 1994, I guess. Probably
Until
don't
next
bother with
time.
that episode, do we? I've already picked my album for that year, haven't I? So I hope that if you're listening wherever you are on this planet, you'll go away and listen to those 2 albums,
Hi,
and I hope
Marcus.
that you'll enjoy them. Yeah, hi Marcus.
Barnaby, you better not dislike this video.
And we'll see you next time on Music Mates.
90s.